Joining me now is Republican Texas Congressman Jodey Arrington. Congressman, more illegal immigrants have been detained in the past 2 months than in the entire year of 2020. You heard the governor blaming Biden's policies for this. Do you do the same?
Absolutely. I mean, policies have consequences, and his policies are sending the message loud and clearly that we're not going to enforce our laws. We're not going to respect our nation's sovereignty. We're going to have a free-for-all at the border while we're trying to manage this pandemic. It's absolutely insane that the president would put restrictions and mandates on the American people, but show no regard with respect to spreading COVID as a public health concern, not to mention the other elements of the crisis: humanitarian, crime, drugs, and the like.
Well, we'll get to some of that, but Jen Psaki today again refused to call it a crisis. She's blaming two big winter storms for this surge. Now, we've had winter storms for the past 3 or 4 years now, and we haven't had a surge like this. So what do you make of their attempts to put it off on storms and climate change?
Well, I would blame it on the storm of unilateral executive actions by this president, who claimed to usher in a new era of bipartisanship and unity. And what he's done is unraveled every stopgap measure to prevent illegal crossings and to secure the border, just because his base hates Donald Trump and because he's placating the left, which has totally co-opted the Democrat Party. That's the real root issue. But whether you're reinstituting catch and release, or you're rescinding the first safe country or the stay in Mexico policy while people are being vetted for asylum claims, all of these things add up to an incentive to bring more people into this country without testing, without vetting. And it's costing states like Texas billions of dollars to take up the slack where the federal government has abdicated its first and most important job.
Governor Abbott said that it was adding $800 million out of the state budget to accommodate what's happening here. And he says that this should all be paid for by the federal government because they're the ones who should be in charge of illegal immigration. Is there any sign that anybody in the administration is going to help out Texas with that shortfall?
This administration doesn't have a plan except to rescind everything that has Donald Trump's name on it. I think they're going to sow the wind and reap the whirlwind because the disaster is epic. They even rescinded the emergency declaration where we got to use money to build the border wall out of defense and have the military provide support for Border Patrol agents. I mean, across the board, he's doing nothing to stop this flood of immigrants coming, and it's going to be the worst in history. John Jay, his secretary, said if 1,000 are apprehended at the border, that's a crisis. We're at 3,000 or 4,000, and it's going to get worse.
Well, and we have the crisis of what to do with all of those who have been detained. I mean, besides catch and release, which is bad enough, some of these facilities are 3 times over capacity right now in the middle of a pandemic. Are you concerned that they may become super spreaders, or probably already have been?
Absolutely. That's a major concern, and they're going to put strain on healthcare facilities in the South Texas and rural parts of other border states. And again, by not doing anything and taking responsible actions, he's jeopardizing not only the safety but the health of the American people, and again, especially folks in border states and border communities like the ones that I represent.
You know, what really pulls at your heartstrings more than anything else are the unaccompanied minors, and there's a dramatic increase in the number of them. The governor said today that 100% of the unaccompanied minors are being smuggled in by the drug cartels. Do we have any evidence to back that up? Because that's a frightening stat if true.
Well, we're on pace to have 117,000 unaccompanied illegal minors and that's going to break the record of 80,000 in 1 year. But look, we are empowering the drug cartels, no doubt. This is their biggest business now, and it's sad because they're preying on the most vulnerable.
Well, let me just stop you there, because you said something that was I haven't heard before. You're saying that the drug cartels are now making more out of human smuggling than they are out of drug smuggling?
That's right. That's exactly right. And because, listen, we're inviting it. People are wearing the Biden T-shirts, and the message, again, is loud and clear. If you come to this country and you cross our border illegally, not only will we take care to catch and release you and not hold you accountable and enforce our laws, we will reward you. The recent bill, the amnesty bill, would grant citizenship to millions of people who've come to our country illegally. So it's a draw, and it's sending the wrong message, and we're getting what he's asking for, quite frankly.
Well, Jodey Arrington, best to you and to the people of Texas. They're facing quite a crisis. They may not realize it inside the Beltway, but they do in Texas. Congressman Jodey Arrington, thank you very much.
God bless.
Well, nearly